there, it's John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Magic: The Gathering. So, this has been an interesting week in Magic. First off, a few topics I want to talk about today. Yesterday concluded the first major tournament with the new standard environment, and that was the Star City Games Open in Indianapolis. We'll take a closer look at the top 8 and some of those deck lists. Also want to look at the newest Friday Night Magic promo that will be coming out in December, since we didn't look at that one last week. And finally, I want to talk a little bit about Zendikar Fat Packs and what is the deal? What is going on with these things, and why is it making everybody crazy? So let's talk about Star City Games first and their Open Series. First off, congratulations to Brian DeMars, who won the Open Series in Indianapolis this weekend. And we saw the new standard. We saw a lot of exciting new stuff and all new deck tech, basically. And a couple things jumped out to me initially when I watched the tournament this weekend. I saw two different types of decks, really. I saw kind of your tried and true decks that were similar to decks maybe we saw pre-rotation with just some cards switched out that were maybe the safer choices, and then we saw a lot of crazy 4 or 5 color decks trying to use these new mana bases and trying to stretch and use all these new cards in the set. The 4 or 5 color decks, although some of them did well, and we'll take a closer look at that in just a second, they did struggle a little bit with their mana bases. The mana bases aren't as consistent as, say, a modern mana base where you have the choice of all the fetch lands and all the shock lands, trying to use enemy colored fetches and pulling the allied colored new dual lands could get a little wonky at times if you're playing 4 or 5 colors. The new dual lands definitely served better in 2 color decks, more so than as you started adding more colors. But it's going to be interesting to see if maybe players can solve for that. Again, they didn't have a whole lot of time to work with this stuff. If maybe next week we'll see some cleaner versions of those decks, and then of course the Pro Tour will be coming a little bit after that. So first off, let's look at the winning deck. It was a Tarka Red, and this was a deck that is probably a very good deck to start the season off with, just because it's aggro, and red aggro seems to do very well first week of seasons, and even took down a Pro Tour last time. So something to be said for just tried and true efficient red when everyone else is trying to stretch the format and find a new deck. And that is how Brian DeMars won. This is a very aggressive deck. There were some huge turns with this deck. He came in a couple times and just got huge attacks in, and he did it really on the back of cards like Temur Battle Rage, which I don't know if anyone was expecting. And there were times in the tournament where people didn't know what he was playing. He would attack in with a few small creatures, and then boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, you're taking 18 damage. It was pretty crazy, actually. So when you look at the deck list, you do see a couple Chandras here. You got 4 Zergos, just a super aggressive build. Lightning Berserkers, Abbot of Carol Keep for some more card advantage. Here's the real kind of crux of it. Become Immense, along with Temur Battle Rage, Titan Strength, just did tons of work. You have your Dragon Fodders in there for more small creatures, Wild Slashes, and of course Atarka's Command was maybe the card of the weekend. Just huge. This showed up in some red-green landfall decks for the land ability, as well as just efficient card with a lot of flexibility. So this card saw a lot of play. Look in the sideboard, Hangerback Walker's still hanging around, definitely doing a lot of work, as you're going to see in some other decks as well. And we got cards like Thunderbreak Regents that are showing up that were kind of fringe cards last time around. Maybe will play a bigger role this time. Fiery Impulse, Arc Lightning, Rosestall kind of make the sideboard. So as you can see, his mana base pretty stable. You got your 8 Mountains, some Bloodstained Mires, Cinderglades, Windswept Teeth, Wooden Foothills. So really cool deck. Here's the thing, though. I think it's going to be easy to sideboard against this. And similar to when the aggro deck won the Pro Tour last time around, I think in another week or two, a lot of people are going to be prepared for this. And it might not be the best choice, even maybe in a week, if you're going to the next Star City Games Open in Atlanta, we might see a very different format. But this is typically what you see at the beginning of a format, and well played, great deck design here. Let's look at the deck that came in second. This was piloted by Michael Majors, and this was a green-white Megamorph deck. And this deck, again, saw tons of success. Now, this one's a little more, I guess, closely related to some of the decks that we saw prior to rotation. Just switching out some cards. But see, of course, your Hangerback Walker, your Deathmist Raptors, Gem Protectors, almost looks like an old deck. But then, of course, you get cards like Wingmate Rock, which never really had a chance before to really thrive. It saw some fringe play, but here it is as a major component in this deck, and it was very powerful. You get 3 Nisas. Of course, Gideon really shines in this deck with 4 copies of Gideon, kind of replacing Elspeth in a way, but really doesn't do what Elspeth did. Gideon, I think, is better served to deal with other synergies with allies. I didn't really see a lot of that. Like, I didn't see a Rally the Ancestors ally deck or anything like that on camera this weekend. I expect to see that more as people have a chance to kind of perfect that. I think it's just more difficult tech. So, really cool deck. I really like this one as well. A little more kind of what you're used to seeing, though, I think. Jerry Thompson came in 5th, but he did have the best record going into the top 8, and he was playing 5 color Bring to Light. And I guess the joke of the weekend was Bring to Light basically just casts Siege Rhino. And this is an interesting deck. I actually like this deck a lot. Now, he did very well with his mana base, although he is a very experienced player, and the mana base is just very, very difficult in this set. So I don't know how this is going to unfold as the environment goes on. Like I said, I think people will perfect it and understand it better the more weeks they get to play with it. But it is not easy. You do have to really think through your mana base. It's going to be hard to get this right, and then decision making in game is going to be a big deal. And again, because of that, the better players are going to rise to the top, like your Jerry Thompsons, and he did a really cool job with this particular build. So it feels like a control deck that's using Siege Rhino as its kill, basically. And you can see here, you got the Forged Siege Rhinos, you have the Bring to Light, which also helps you cast Siege Rhino. You got like things like Nisa and Estelmagar, the Drifting Death. But at the end of the day, you're doing things like Murderous Cut, Disdainful Stroke, we got Abzan Charms in there, Utter Ends, Crux of Fate, Languish, Reeve Soul. Reeve Soul has become a premium removal spell now that a lot of things are rotated out as well. Runeous Path, you got Ugin's Insight to draw cards. So it just becomes basically control. You're just trying to throw down some Siege Rhinos to win the game. So interesting deck. I really like this build a lot. I think it's fun. I know a lot of people are sick of Siege Rhino. And it's kind of funny that Bring to Light is just enabling you to find your Siege Rhinos to put them into play. But yeah, I think it is still a cool deck. I think it's very difficult to pilot, but I think it's a very cool deck. Here's another example. This was a 6th place deck by Clay Spickelmeyer, and I just wanted to show this one off a little bit because it was a little different. Again, it has a lot of the components that we've seen in the previous standard environment, but one of the big cards this weekend was Crackling Doom, and I just want to point that out. It saw a lot of play in a lot of different decks, so keep an eye out for that one to maybe go up in price. This also ran Kolagon's command, Ojitai's command, so you saw a lot of commands in here. So a little bit different build, but again, very successful. Got to see Dragonlord Ojitai, of course Jace was there, Mantis Riders. This was a little more aggressive control-y, but just wanted to show that one off because it was different and could lead to maybe some other things as the metagame evolves. And show you one more deck. This one came in 29th place, but it was interesting. 5-color Eldrazi, basically a ramp deck. And there were some ramp decks floating around. Now, ramp decks, especially when you're going up against aggro decks, not always a great matchup because your probability of getting mana flooded or maybe drawing too many big threats too early can sometimes just make you lose a game when you play ramp. It's just the nature of ramp. When it works really well, but there's a percentage of the time you're going to be in trouble just because of your draws in the card order. But still, pretty successful 29th place coming in with this one. And just wanted to kind of show you this list real quick so you could appreciate it. We have Dramoka, Tarka in there, which were heavy hitters. Tarka saw definitely a lot of play. We got some Ugins, and then you got like your ramp suite here. pretty cool stuff, a little bit different. So there you have it. So that's the start of the metagame. Now, I think next week we'll see some pretty significant changes. People have more time to kind of figure out what's going on, figure out mana bases, probably see some leaner decks. There'll be more sideboarding against aggro and some of the decks that were very successful this weekend. And a couple weeks in the Pro Tour, we'll see even more of an advancement, I think, in the metagame. So we'll keep an eye out again from a finance point of view. Next week, I'll be doing another video for the Market Watch, and we'll talk about what impact these cards have had on the market. So I'm sure we're going to start seeing some fluctuations as people start net decking. All right, so let's talk about Friday Night Magic. Promos. We got our December promo. So, of course, October's ultimate price with the head in the bag. November is roast with the guy being burned alive. And finally, December is anticipate, and there's no crazy violence on the card this month. So sorry, folks. It just cracks me up, the art on the October November ones. It just, I don't know, makes me smile. So December, very cool. I like the fact that it anticipates the card. I really like this card a lot. I think it's going to see more play as we go forward with the new standard environment. It sees some play now, but I think it's a very good card. I think in some ways underrated. Art's pretty cool. I like the style of it. Looks neat. Good looking card. So that is going to be your December card. Let's talk about our last topic of the week, and it is Battle for Zendikar came out. And what is the deal with Battle for Zendikar Fat Packs? Alright, so a number of weeks ago I was covering the PAX announcements, and as I was putting together the video with the spoilers for you guys, pretty late, I think it was 2 in the morning or so, it kind of occurred to me that I hadn't pre-ordered my Battle for Zendikar yet, and with all this hype that I started seeing, I was like, I better pre-order it right now before prices start going up. So I pre-ordered my booster boxes, stuff like that. One of the things that kind of really caught on after that point was the Fat Packs. Now, Fat Packs typically don't sell really well in the hobby shops. They come in that first week, stores order a bunch of them, and new players will pick them up. It's a good way to kind of say, hey, if you're new to the game and you need to pick up some lands, this is a way to do it. This also gives you a nice encyclopedia of the set, so you can look over the entire card set. Good for people who maybe don't follow all the spoilers and stuff. And some people just like to collect those little booklets and the die and stuff like that. So there's a small market out there for them, but for the most part, people are just going to go in and either buy their singles for the decks they need to build if they're more competitive players, or they're just going to crack packs and buy, a booster box or just some booster packs, stuff like that. I think it's typically what you see in the hobby shops. The big box stores, your Targets, your Walmarts, they sell probably a little more of the Fat Packs because it's a little more casual product, and you get more casual players a lot of times, just picking up their Magic at those type of stores. So no one ever really batted an eye. This product is just kind of there. But what's the difference now, Battle for Zendikar? The big difference, first off, is there is a land pack in these, and now, of course, Battle for Zendikar has full art lands, and they are very beautiful. And I think at the core base of it, a lot of people just want to get their hands on them as soon as possible and just start playing with them and putting them in their decks and playing sealed with these new lands. And yeah, there's a little bit of impatience. They don't want to necessarily wait till they crack a whole lot of packs to get enough of the land. They want to use the same art style in their decks, so that takes a little more land. This is just the fastest, most efficient way to start getting that mana base together so that you have these really nice full art lands to play the game with. Now, full art lands, as far as their value goes, they're going to be opened like crazy. There's one in every single booster pack that gets cracked. There's going to be 80 in these Battle for Zendikar Fat Packs. So as far as long-term value goes, yeah, there might be a couple lands that are worth $1 or $2 in there. We've seen this before. Zendikar dumped a whole bunch of dual lands into the environment, and they were worthless for a long time. Now, over time, they started to creep up a little bit. They're still not worth a whole lot of money, other than maybe some of the foils are decent. But it's not really per se a long-term investment. Now, there are also are people trying to take advantage of the hype around these full art lands, and of course they're buying up product and keeping it unopened. And because of that, now we're starting to see, quote unquote, a shortage of Fat Packs. So a lot of game stores have taken this as, this is free reign to, we have higher demand, we're going to increase the price. So let's talk a little bit about business first of all. Supply and demand is how the economy works. If there is a strong demand for something, that does give the supplier the ability to increase the price. If there's a lack of supply, again, it gives the ability of the seller to increase the price. That's basic economics. So a lot of people are upset with LGSs for increasing the price of this product because of the high demand and the quote unquote more limited supply. So let's talk about the supply first. Wizards of the Coast is one distributor of the product, and they have said that they have sold out of Fat Packs. Now, keep in mind that they distribute the product, but there are other distributors out there, and they get their product, of course, from Wizards, and they will purchase it up and then they'll go ahead and sell it out to your other local game stores. Now, these distributors, they're kind of a middleman. If they have a product that they feel is something that has a high demand or low supply, they could increase the price and force your local game store to pay more for it. And in turn, then to keep their profit margin, they'll have to increase the price for their customers. And I feel bad for the LGSs that are in that situation. They look like the bad guy, but really they're just trying to compensate for the money that they'd be losing by purchasing through their distributor. So why do distributors exist? They do provide a service. If you have all of the product coming from one distributor, say just Wizards, then you're not going to get product on time. It's going to get the places late. It's going to be hard to restock and reorder. Now, if you have a lot of different distributors that can kind of cover the territory, say, different parts of the country, you're going to get product restocked faster, and that's kind of the service that they provide. So because of that, they kind of have to exist, but some of them are going to be better than others when it comes to kind of hiking up prices on your LGSs. So some LGSs are in that situation. Some LGSs also could be having financial difficulties, and this is a quick cash grab that helps them stay in business. And there are going to be some stores that are going to be in that situation and they see an opportunity. I could sell these for $40 or $60 and maybe stay in business and maybe get my business going. And they're almost painted into a corner. They have to do it. That happens too. Then there's just a third group out there that are kind of giving into the philosophy of supply and demand. People want these. There is a limited supply. I can have my customers pay more for them, and they will. So why not do it and increase my profit margin? So I think that's what we're seeing out there. Now, let me give you one kind of extreme case. Okay, so Star City Games, now they're not quote unquote a small LGS by any means, but Battle for Zendikar Fat Pack, $79.99. They are selling you this product for $40 more than MSRP because of an 80 card land pack in there. You're paying 50 cents basically for each land that you get in that land pack if you buy this. All that's in here is 9 packs of Magic, a few odds and ends that there's a few people that do collect and like the die and the book, and finally there's your land pack. You're paying for your land pack. You could go out there, buy the lands you want to buy as singles, cheaper, get what you need until the hype around this and the supply gets regulated. So here's the thing. First off, to the consumers out there, including myself, we all vote with our wallets. Don't do this. Don't buy these things for $60, $70, $80. You're going to be able to either just buy single packs and single lands much cheaper, or just wait. You can purchase these things at big box stores for retail price, or if we're not buying them, guess what? The LGSs will have to bring their price down. The eBay sellers will have to bring their price down. All the people that hoarded this product are going to have to bring their price down because they're not moving. We all control this. We just all have to take a stand. And I know as much as you want to get those new lands as quickly as possible, have some patience. These things aren't going to dry up and disappear. I promise you that. The thing is, yeah, Wizards of the Coast as a distributor is out of them, but other distributors have them. Big box stores are going to have plenty. That's where most of the supply of these things go anyway, is big box stores, because that's the target audience for these type of products. So just be patient. Now, Sunday, I went to a couple of big box stores just out of curiosity to see what they had. I had already purchased my Fat Pack, opened it for the channel, but I went into Target first. Target obviously was out of them. They had Battle for Zendikar product, and they had all the boosters and stuff on the shelves, but they had no Fat Packs. So obviously people went in, purchased Fat Packs from that Target. Now, they may have had more in the back. I didn't ask for anything. These stores are notorious for not quickly restocking, so they could very well have product they're sitting on, but just wasn't out on the floor. Went over to the Walmart. The Walmart was a mess. First off, their gaming area looked like a hurricane went through it, and it looks like it hadn't been cleaned in probably weeks. Secondly, they had no Battle for Zendikar product out, so it wasn't even that it was sold out because there wasn't like a missing spot where it was or anything like that. They just never put it out. It's probably sitting in the back of their store somewhere. So here we are Sunday afternoon. Product came out Friday. Still not on the shelf. So at some point they'll put it out, and some lucky people will walk in at the right time and see some Fat Packs sitting there. But who knows when that will be, right? Again, I'm sure I could have asked, but I doubt I would have gotten a lot of help there either. So, so there's kind of what you can expect from big box stores. Now, as time goes on, they're going to finally get their stuff on the shelf, and they're going to restock from their own warehouses and what have you. And there's going to be more Fat Packs coming. They're going to be on the shelves. You're going to get them for $40. The hype will die down, and the prices will all start to come down. But don't give into it. Don't give into the hype. If you have to buy them for $40 from Target or Walmart, do that. If you have to just wait for the prices to come down or wait for big box stores to get them in, do that. If you need to buy singles, do that. But don't do it. Don't spend $60, $80 on these things. It's insane. As far as the LGSs go, like I said in the beginning, I do feel for anyone who maybe is getting the price hiked by distributors or just need the money to stay in business. There are going to be stores like that. Now, for stores that are just trying to get the quick cash grab, well, these are the stores that feel that when they have a product, they can sell the from the vaults for $100. They can sell the Modern Masters for $250. They have every right to. They have every right to sell these Fat Packs for $60. And yeah, if people are buying them, they do have every right to. That's how the economy works. But one thing these stores are missing, they're missing the big picture, and that's customer loyalty. And a lot can be said for trading the immediate profit for a long-term profit. And what I mean by that is there's stores that, I can sell these for $60 and I'm going to get some extra cash pretty quickly. But you know what? I'm not developing any customer loyalty. If I'm a consumer and I go to my local LGS that I support and play Magic at, and I walk in the door and they're selling me these for $60. And maybe I buy one, maybe I don't. I go to the big box store the next day, I see them for $40. I maybe take a drive out to an LGS that's a little farther away. They're selling them for $40. I'm going to start to feel a little bit slighted. And maybe unfairly so if I don't know all the details about distribution and what have you by LGS. But I'm going to feel like, wow, you know something? This store that's selling it for $40, now they're taking an immediate loss. They could probably sell these for $60 and do quite well. But what they're investing in is they're investing in their customers. They're investing in loyalty. I might in the future drive a little farther to go to this LGS because I think they care about me as a customer. They are not taking advantage of me because of hype around a new product. They are selling it for a suggested retail price. I'm going to appreciate that. I'm going to continue to buy their products in the future. Maybe that's where I start playing my Friday Night Magic. I think that's where stores kind of miss the point. They miss the fact that they're not developing loyalty. They're not developing relationships with their customers. And as much as supply and demand is the driving force of economy, sometimes you do have to step back and look at the big picture. And am I going to build relationships? Am I going to build loyalty? Am I going to have customers that are going to come back to me and maybe next time even spend money at my store, even if I don't have the best price, because in the past I have looked out for them and done everything I can to provide the best possible price. And I have the advantage of I worked for one of the largest companies in the world for 20 years. No company's perfect. Every company will make mistakes, but at the same time, companies need to look at the big picture. LGSs need to look at the big picture. Take a small loss now for a big gain in the future. And unfortunately, there's a short-sightedness out there in the collectible industry in general, not just Magic the Gathering, but just through the history of things like sports cards and trading card games and comic books. The culture, a lot of times from LGSs and distributors, is here's a product that's a little more limited. I have every right to make my money here. And, you know, yeah, you do. Sure, you do. But at the same time, don't forget the fact that you have opportunities and limited opportunities to build a customer base, to build loyalty. And if you don't take advantage of some of those opportunities, you're going to be losing to a business that is going to take advantage of some of those opportunities. So that's what a lot of times gets forgotten. So to sum up, in the end of the day, we all vote with our wallets. Vote with your wallet. Don't spend $80 for these things. Don't spend $60 for these things. Wait until you can get them for $40, whether that's at a big box store or your LGS or wherever, or else just pick up the singles of the cards you want. Don't be taken advantage of. Don't allow this hype to continue to spiral out of control, because I think we all know it's ridiculous. I don't think there's anyone who's watching this video out there that feels that this is justified. Don't let it happen. Vote with your wallet. You have the power as the consumer. Have a little patience. Hey, even for some reason, if you couldn't get these lands, hasn't been confirmed yet, but pretty sure that Oath of the Gatewatch will probably have the exact same lands because it is the small set coming off the large set. You'll have another opportunity to get lands. These things are going to be flooding the market. They're going to be everywhere. Every pack that cracks is going to open one of these, and this is going to be the most open Magic product of all time. The streets will be flooded with this product and these lands. Don't give in to the hype. Do the right thing. LGSs, do what you have to do. Some of them do have to increase the prices. Some of them are dealing with some poor distributors. But when possible, don't forget the big picture. Think about your customer loyalty. Think about what you're gaining by taking a small loss in the immediate future. You're producing large long-term gains in a lot of situations, especially if you have competitors that are in the vicinity that are selling these things for a lot more money. Just kind of think about your business strategy. So, hey, having said that, that's this week's episode of This Week in Magic the Gathering. Hey, as always, I appreciate your support. Please remember to like and subscribe. If you haven't checked out our Patreon page yet, please do so. We have some patron-exclusive giveaways, and these videos really are here because of the patrons, because of viewers like you. So please check it out. Please consider even $1 helps us get these videos out in a timely manner and helps our quality. So thank you to our current patrons. Thank you for all our viewers for your support. And as always, have a great day. Hey, thanks as always for watching. These videos are made possible by viewers just like you through Patreon. Please check out our Patreon page by clicking on the top right. Down below, we have more links to quality Magic the Gathering content. And if you're interested in seeing trading cards open that aren't Magic the Gathering, check out the link to our trading card channel, Heroes and Legends Trading Cards. Thanks and have a great day.